Good afternoon. I'll apologize in advance. You're going to see a lot of me today. But the first thing that I want to do is make sure that I say thank you. Thank you for being here, all of you. We're here today to do something else important. Thank you to every man and woman, present, past, and future, law enforcement officer that are here today serving, protecting each and us, every one of us. Many times they are forgotten. Men and women in badges, I want you to know, you are not forgotten. Families who give so much to allow your husbands and your wives, your friends, your family to serve, you are not forgotten as well. Thank you for your service. At the end of the day, you may be sick of me, so I'll be brief. Right now, I'm going to introduce Reverend Michael Stevens from Franklin Church of God, who is one of the individuals that reached out to me and said, we love you and we want to be a part of this. And so he's had his sound man here. He's had a lot of his people from his church here. And so at this time, I would like to welcome Reverend Michael Stevens.
Thank you, Sheriff. We are grateful for each one of you that has taken the time to attend this event today and show our law enforcement personnel and their families how much we appreciate them. This is not a protest. This is not a counter-protest. This is just us as members of this wonderful community to come together and let all of our law enforcement personnel and their families know that we love them and we appreciate the sacrifices that they make. So would you join me right now and one more time give them a big round of applause? These brave men and women have been tasked with the very difficult responsibility to keep our community safe. And with recent events, the task has been even greater that's been laid in their laps. And one writer said it like this. He said, sometimes there's no elegant way to protect the sheep from the wolves. So we're grateful for all the men and women in uniform, their families, their children. And we appreciate you for being here today. May we bow our heads and go to the Lord in prayer. Gracious Father in heaven, how wonderful it is to be gathered together with like-minded people. And Lord, how wonderful it is to know that you love and care for each one of us. We pray in the name of your Son, Jesus, that you would be favorable to these events, that you would keep your hand upon our community, keep your hand upon our nation, guide our leadership, all of our elected officials, all of our law enforcement personnel and their families. Would you give each one of them special grace in these difficult times that we live in? We pray, Lord, that you would send revival to Macon County and help us to be a people that will turn our eyes to the one alone who can change things, and that is the Son of God, Jesus Christ. And for all of this, we'll give you praise in your name. Amen. Thank you.
We were on vacation a couple of weeks ago, actually about 3 weeks ago, and I received a message, as I often do, from an individual on Facebook. And this individual wanted to have an event such as this and wasn't quite sure how to do it, and asked for my help and asked if I'd be interested in helping. I said, absolutely. She said that she wasn't going to be able to use this place until after August. I kind of laughed again. I said, when do you want to have it? She said, soon. I said, we'll have it in 3 weeks. I'll get the permits and we'll do it. So at this time, I'd like for you to make sure you give a warm welcome to Miss Sandy Hughes, our co-host.
When I first envisioned a rally, it was like 25, 30 people. I would have said, praise the Lord. But I'm really praising the Lord right now. This is wonderful. I've been here for 6 generations. This is my home. These are my people. These are my law enforcement. And I could not be prouder of our people. As Brother Stephen said, this is not a demonstration. This is not negativity. This is positive action. This is love and unity. That's what this is. That's all. But as the sheep and the wolves, we will back our law enforcement with everything we have. Every one of us. I love you, Franklin. I really am so proud of you. Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Love you too.
At this time, I would like to call on Troop 202, who will do a presentation of colors. Mr. Benedict.
Color Guard, please present the colors. Color Guard, forward march. Salute. Color Guard, please post the colors. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Ready, two.
Can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watch
It's been said behind every good man is a better woman. It's amazing all the ladies come alive just right then. I know we appreciate our sheriff, but I'll tell you another thing. We appreciate our sheriff's wife. Ladies and gentlemen, would you greet Marcy Holland as she comes?
Thank you. They don't make many things for short people. Wow, thank you all for being here today. I am just blown away by the overwhelming love and support that my hometown has showed our law enforcement family. I'm honored to stand here with each of you as we back the blue today. I believe that most of us here in Macon County understand what the phrase God's country embodies. We live in a wonderful community. We live in a beautiful place with compassionate and caring neighbors, just like you. Throughout my time as a law enforcement wife, I have seen our community rally behind and support and lift up in prayer our men and women behind the badge in so many ways at so many different times. I will not soon forget how our citizens lined the roadways from Main Street to the Georgia line to honor and salute one of our own fallen officers. Many of you remember the recent tragedy that took the life of Corporal David Head and his wife. Nor will I soon forget how our community has honored and supported our law enforcement family in countless other ways. It might be through anonymously buying an officer's dinner at a local restaurant, or a phone call, messages, cards, or prayer, and 100 other acts of kindness that I have seen from our community. So yes, I am thankful to live here in God's country, and the hearts of so many of our citizens is a big reason why. Unfortunately, though, law enforcement can be a thankless profession. It is hard. It often encompasses excruciating days and sleepless nights. Those in the profession will often tell you that it is a calling to a higher purpose. It is a willingness to lay down one's life while protecting others, often complete strangers. It is the courage to run toward danger to keep the rest of us safe. But that commitment and that courage takes its toll. It greatly affects the officers, and it affects their families as well. Most of society will never know what goes through our minds as spouses behind the badge. Most of you can't relate to all the what-ifs that go through our mind each and every time our loved one reports to duty. What if he doesn't come home? What if I get the knock on the door to give me the bad news? What about our kids? How will I tell them? What if? I have learned to depend on my faith in God to help me through those difficult times. And as each and every spouse of every officer allows our loved ones to keep our community safe, I will continue to lean on my faith in God to protect each and every one of them. There are more than 800,000 law enforcement officers who show up to work to protect and serve in this great country every single day. And they do it with honor and with compassion. I have watched in shock and disbelief as an entire profession has been allowed to be demonized because of the actions of a very few. So I, along with all of you here today, am taking a public stand to denounce that notion.
That's right. Amen.
578 law enforcement officers in North Carolina alone have been killed in the line of duty.
Shame.
Killed while keeping you and I safe. We should honor those fallen officers, and we should give this profession the respect that it deserves. We should continue to thank the officers who serve honorably, and we should not hesitate to hold them in high regard. So to all the officers, I will say this: don't let hatred make you question your calling. And to all the families and spouses of all of the officers, I will say this: stay strong during these trying times. You are your loved one's rock, and they need you as they continue to hold the line. So like all of you other spouses out there, I will continue to stand at my husband's side as he performs his duties, and I will lift him up as he makes this world a better place to live. I am proud of each and every law enforcement officer who works tirelessly to keep this community safe, and I would like to say thank you for your service. You do make a difference. You are appreciated, and you are our heroes. I believe a Bible verse sums up this noble profession best. Matthew 5:9 states, "Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God." Thank you all again for being here. I'm just honestly almost speechless at the love and support, and I know that I am speaking on behalf of our entire Blue family when I say that we love you and we appreciate our community. So at this time, I'd like to call to the podium my favorite law enforcement officer, my husband and our sheriff.
I'm used to speaking after people, good speaking people. I'm not used to speaking after my wife. But you know who the smart one in the bunch is, don't you? You did a great job, Marcy. Thank you. And I love you. I have the distinct honor of recognizing the officers that have been killed in the line of duty during this past year. For 25 years, we've held that event right here where I'm standing today. Actually in the shade. But we've held that here for over 25 years, thanks to our local law enforcement and also to our FOP, Fraternal Order of Police. We weren't able to have it this year. So because we were having this event, I just didn't feel right not taking the opportunity of doing that when we could have done it 3 weeks to a month ago and couldn't have done it. So we're going to do that today. Before I do that, I wanted to say a few more words. Go figure, right? I just want to make sure that I make it very clear. We are here today to show the support to the men and women of law enforcement and to their families. We are not here to cuss anybody. We're not here to say negative things. We're not here to call law enforcement names. We're not here to do the negative things that we have seen portrayed in our media, in our communities, and standing right here. My guys give me a hard time sometimes because sometimes I look mad and I think I'm mad about something. But what happens is I'm thinking about the next thing. I'm thinking about what's going to go on in a few minutes, and I'm concentrating. But lately, if I've looked mad, you're damn right. I'm mad because I love my family, and I love my blue family. Ladies and gentlemen, my badge, and if you heard me earlier, I had it on the wrong side. I was looking in a mirror, putting it on. It's on the right side now. My badge is not tarnished. His badge is not tarnished. Her badge is not tarnished. Her badge is not tarnished. That badge is not tarnished. That badge is not tarnished. That badge is not tarnished. Don't include us. Don't include us with those others. I've arrested many people in my profession in my 28 years. I've arrested cops, but I've also arrested preachers. I've arrested medical professionals. I've teachers, all sorts of professionals. Don't include us in those bad apples, just like we don't include them in those bad apples. We had a couple of protests here, and you had some bad apples in those protests. But you also had good people. You had people who had a right to stand up for what they believed in. People like many of you that are in here have served our country to give us that right. I'm not going to say that all those people that were there were bad people. Some of them were law enforcement family members that were there. So I too am not going to say that all those people are bad, just like what they're doing to law enforcement today. So let's not do that. We're going to do it respectfully here today. I can promise you, and I'm not going to use the word that was used to portray what all cops are, standing right here or standing over there, while I stood there, while 55 officers stood protecting all those people. Many of those same officers are here today. But guess what? They're proud. We had no clue what kind of turnout that we would have. We have people here from Jackson County. We have people here from Clay County. We have people from Swain County, Macon County. We have people from all over that came to support us. Andrews. We have people of all walks of life. We have people who have darker skin than I do. We have people of all races here.
Yeah.
We thank you. Men and women of law enforcement that are here today listening, trying not to smile too big, take pride. We are here for you. Families, the wives.
Have all them come up front.
They can.
They can all fit. No?
They're stationed.
Okay.
They're here working. Some of them are not working, but they're all here working. Because guess what?
They never quit.
24/7, they're on duty.
Yay!
We have a lot of dignitaries that are here today. And I am not going to name them all because I will fail to recognize somebody. and I will end up on the list. But we have some great people. We have both Republican and Democrats here. We have the chairman of the Republican Party here. We have a representative of the Democrat Party here. They've already come to me to make sure they wanted us to know that we were here. Or they were here. But toward the end of this service, we will recognize many, hoping not to leave somebody out. And then at the very end, we got a ton of prizes for people donated by businesses and organizations and citizens within our community. And we appreciate it. We had our advertisement placed in their local newspapers and on the radio. It didn't cost your tax dollars any money, so don't make the rate and raise, please. We had people that donated that and called us and let us know that wanted to pay for that because they wanted us to have a big turnout. Congratulations. At this time, I'm going to recognize the men and women that have fallen in the past year. And when I do, after I do that, we are going to lay a wreath. And me and the chief of Franklin PD and the chief of Highlands PD, they're both here. I'm just making sure that something didn't happen. One of them had to leave because I didn't have her on the agenda. And I want her to take part in this. Our newest police chief in Highlands. Which, by the way, both our chief of the Highlands PD and the chief of Franklin PD are former Macon County Sheriff's Office employees. Following the laying of that wreath, or while we're laying that wreath, my officers will come up and sing Amazing Grace. And then at the conclusion of that, we have the distinct honor of having among us an individual who will speak, who is a widow of Trooper Sean Blanton. And she will speak. So at this time, I'm going to start reading off the names of these individuals who gave the ultimate sacrifice. Canine Officer Jordan Harris Sheldon, Mooresville Police Department, North Carolina. 5 years of service. His cause of death was gunfire. His end of watch was Saturday, May 4th, 2019. Deputy Sheriff McKean Richtrell Brooks, Northampton County Sheriff's Office, North Carolina. 5 months of service. Cause of death, automobile crash. End of watch, Thursday, November 14th, 2019. Trooper Nolan James Sanders, North Carolina Highway Patrol, North Carolina. 5 years of service. Cause of death, automobile crash. End of watch, March 27th, 2020. School Resource Officer Deputy Sheriff Fuang Frey Shan, Montgomery County Sheriff's Office, North Carolina. 14 years of service. Cause of death, COVID-19. Senior Detention Officer Alexander Reginald Pettyway, Durham County Sheriff's Office, North Carolina. 23 years of service. Cause of death, COVID-19. End of watch, Saturday, April 25th, 2020. In honor of our canines, we also want to recognize 2 of our canines. Canine Rambo of the Greensville Police Department, North Carolina, 3 years. struck by a vehicle while on duty. August 16, 2019. Wake Forest Police Department, North Carolina. K-9 Leo, 2 years of service. Cause of death, heat exhaustion. End of watch, July 1, 2020. At this time, I would call both the Chief of the Franklin and Highlands Police to come around here to the front. And if you'll make way right here in the center, we're going to walk through there. Introduce to you Miss G540, Miss Michelle Blanton Lowe.
Thank you, Sheriff Holland, for asking me to be here today, and also for honoring all of our fallen law enforcement who didn't make it home to their families throughout this year. My husband was Trooper David Sean Blanton Jr. He was shot and killed in the line of duty in 2008, only 17 days after our son Ty was born. Our son Ty was born sick and very early at only 32 weeks and weighed 2 pounds 7 ounces. At the time of his death, I was actually in the NICU with our son upstairs at Mission Children's Hospital, and of course rushed to the emergency room downstairs and soon learned of my husband's death. When I married Sean, I thought I was just marrying the love of my life. We had plans to have a family and to grow old together, much like I feel like many of these wives also seek for their lives every day with their husband who they married that just happens to have the job of a law enforcement officer. So for me, my first thought when I got married was that, hey, I'm marrying a cop, I'm marrying a trooper. I'm marrying Sean. Because when I thought about law enforcement, it took me back to elementary school. It took me back to law enforcement officers coming into class and teaching you how to call 911 and tell you everything that you need to do in case there is an emergency. They teach you to state your name, your address, the whole 9 yards. You don't really think anything of it. It's just something that you learn and you stick back in the back of your mind until that dreadful day when you may need it. and that one faithful day where your life changes forever and you need help. Take just a moment for all of you who are here, including law enforcement. Think about that moment or a time where you had to call 911 yourself for the very first time. While you were awaiting help, like were your hands shaking, a little bit like mine are right now? Was your heart racing? What were your thoughts as you were awaiting help? Were you scared? Your first call was likely to a law enforcement officer. Could also be a dispatcher, firefighter, paramedic, EMT. They are all our superheroes. They say not all superheroes wear capes, and the statement couldn't be more true. When we call, our superheroes are there, and their jobs are far from easy. They work long, crazy hours around the clock and rush to scenes helping complete strangers without even thinking twice. Something I know my husband did every day. In situations where responders are called, we forget that they are taking time away from their families to help yours. When they go out on call, they witness crazy situations and are expected to just go home at the end of their day and be okay. Be okay with anything that they may have seen that day. We want you, law enforcement officers, to know the world we live in would not be the same without you. It takes a very special kind of person to care for others, especially when they don't have to. These people call to the rods of duty every time they walk through the doors at work or shut the car to their patrol cars. While I may not understand why our emergency services personnel, especially our law enforcement, is gravely underpaid, what I do know is that they don't get enough credit. It seems like only credit is given when they make the save, they lose their life, but that isn't how it should be. Some even having their lives taken to save someone else. I can't imagine what goes through someone's mind when they're headed to a call. It's unbearable at times to think of one of the last things going through my state trooper husband's mind after a seemingly typical traffic stop went very wrong. His dash cam footage captured some of his last words saying, "My wife and brand new kid." As I'm reminded of the sacrifices that were made by my husband and so many others in law enforcement, I'm also reminded of the sacrifices that their families make as well. Every May I attend memorial services with our fellow law enforcement widows, their children, parents, and co-workers. So to all you spouses, kids, parents, and loved ones, I want to say thank you. Your unfailing support and the sacrifices that you make for your law enforcement loved one does not go unnoticed. These superheroes undoubtedly come to the rescue on a day when it may be the worst day of your life, when tragedy strikes and many of us start to question God. Many of us may ask why He would let something like this happen. Some of us may even begin to question if there's a God at all. For me, after our son was born very sick and my husband was killed, I had those same questions. I came to church that Sunday very doubtful, but looking for answers. And during the last hymn of our service, I remember coming to the altar. And as I knelt down, I felt as though all hope was lost. But I felt a hand on my shoulder. And then soon after, another hand. And another hand. And before I knew it, it felt like the entire congregation was at the altar and had their arms wrapped around me. It was in that moment that I realized God is really real. God put those people into my life, and they showed me how He works through each of them and through each of you. We have the power to remind our law enforcement officers that not only is God working with them, but that God is working through them. They are doing God's work every day, saving lives. There's a reason why we hear the verse, Matthew 5:9. Marcy and I, as law enforcement officers, certainly think alike. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called children of God. We should all chip in and help one another, spread kindness and a good heart through positive actions, because we could make a world a better place and make our heroes' jobs a little easier. If you get the chance today, put your hand on the shoulder of one of our law enforcement officers. Shake their hand, give them a little elbow tap, or even a high five. Help them to feel loved and appreciated, and remind them that God is with them. But please, don't let it be for just today. And don't wait until another one of our law enforcement lose their lives in the line of duty. So when you see a first responder and a law enforcement officer, just wave at them and thank them for their service, because without them, the world would be a much different place. Thank you.
Oh, thanks. It's going to have to be shortened here in a second. I'm going to figure it out, though. Oh, yeah, I got it. Okay. At this time, I want to recognize and give an opportunity to some dignitaries that are here. If they would like to say anything, I'm going to call them by name, and if they'd like to come up and say a few words to thank our law enforcement, I'm going to give them that opportunity. I personally would like to thank them for being here, all of them for being here, but especially my county commissioners. I've been to a lot of events, but I've never been to an event where all 5 county commissioners have showed up at the same time, and all of them have been here at one point or another today. The good thing about our county is we're allowed to say how we feel as an elected leader or as a department head. At least this is how I feel, that I'm able to tell them and speak honestly. Like recently when we got up to a commissioner meeting and I complained about our salaries, and I started asking for more money for our law enforcement officers.
More money.
The truth is that they respect me enough to listen and to allow me that opportunity, and I respect them enough to be able to feel free to be able to say those things. And so they know that it's on our radar. I know it's on their radar, and that I promise you, at least to my law enforcement officers that work for me, it's not a done deal yet, and we won't give up. But at this time, I would like to recognize our district attorney who is here. If you would like to come up and say something. District Attorney Ashley Wells.
It is. Thank you. The first thing that I want to say, Ms. Blanton Lowe, is thank you. I can't even begin to believe the loss that you have suffered, and the fact that you continue to come out time and time again when you don't have to, when it would be easier to stay at home. We're incredibly grateful for, because you remind everybody of just what a sacrifice not only law enforcement makes every day, but what the families of law enforcement make as well. And we thank you for everything that you do. Just a few minutes ago, there was a little girl right up here in the front, all dressed up, and I think she's gotten too hot and I can't place her, but she had a sign that said, "My daddy's life matters." I don't know where you've gone, but your daddy's life does matter. And your life matters too. As your district attorney, I want to say that to law enforcement and to the families of law enforcement, I respect you. I'm incredibly grateful for you. I love each and every one of you. And I thank God for you every single day. And as your DA, I wanted you to know that. Unfortunately, that's not really a popular stance to take these days. And it's been a hard stance to take. But seeing this crowd makes me realize that I live in the right county. I will continue to support you even when that's not popular. I will continue to let each of you know how grateful I am for you and how grateful my office is. It never escapes my mind that in the times that I've had to go running in my own life away from danger, y'all came running towards the danger. And that's personal to me, and I thank y'all for it, and I will never, ever, ever forget. Please know that I support you. Stop getting on social media and reading what people are saying, because the community does not feel that way about you. And if you're having a bad day, remember this day and remember this crowd. This is a bigger crowd than all the other crowds that have been here before. From the very bottom of my heart, I am proud that y'all are in law enforcement. I'm grateful that you're in law enforcement, and I am proud that Macon County is my home. It is now my distinct honor to recognize and invite up our state representative, Kevin Corbin.
Thank you, Ashley.
You may have to raise this, even with my heels.
This wasn't made for tall people, right? Thank you, guys. I really have nothing that I can add to what's been said here today, especially you girls. I mean, wow. The words they spoke were incredible. Except just to say, let me be very clear. I'm going to say this very slowly so you understand it. The men and women in the General Assembly of North Carolina, both Republican and Democrat, the majority of us support law enforcement and back the blue. Make no mistake. Make no mistake. And as long as I have breath to represent you, I will make sure that's done. I couldn't be prouder to represent Western North Carolina and be your voice in government. Thank you so much. Thank you to law enforcement for what you guys do. Let me tell you something. When you put on a bulletproof vest or you put on a fireproof suit to go to work, you deserve extra respect from me. Yeah. And I love you guys. Thank you. God bless you. God bless North Carolina. I appreciate you very much. I'm going to introduce a friend of mine. This guy's served us in the North Carolina Senate for the past 10 years, done a great job. Has certainly been a mentor and friend of mine. Welcome, Senator Jim Davis.
Thank you very much, Kevin. It's indeed a privilege to be here to honor law enforcement. I truly hope that Portland, Oregon, Seattle, Washington, Chicago, Illinois, New York City, and all those other cities that are hosting anarchists are watching this peaceable assembly. A true patriot. True American patriots that are exercising their First Amendment right of peaceably assembly to honor a cause greater than themselves. It's truly a privilege and an honor to be here. Thank you, law enforcement, and thank you so much for being here. I am honored. I'm honored to serve you in the North Carolina Senate, and I agree with Kevin. The vast majority of those that are there honor and back the blue. Thank you so much. I'd like for you to welcome Carl Gillespie, who's one of the Macon County Commissioners and a candidate for the North Carolina House in District 120. Carl.
Good afternoon. It's a nice warm afternoon to be out here. First off, I want to say on behalf of the citizens of Macon County, thank you for all you do. We are very, very blessed in Macon County to have the first class, top to bottom outfit. We couldn't ask for better. We will continue to back those folks and support those folks at every opportunity that we could get. I asked Robbie to come out here because I want to make a commitment to Robbie in front of everybody. No matter what my public office is, if I'm in any public policy making position that I have, I will never forget law enforcement. I appreciate law enforcement and I will support them. And I would ask you as voters to hold me accountable for that. Thank you.
I said earlier, all of our commissioners are here. They had other places to go as well, but I still see Gary Shields. Gary, thank you for being here. Jimmy Tate, thank you for being here. Derek Rowland, our county manager, thank you for being here. Paul Higdon, thank you. Josh Young, he was here earlier. Thank you for being here, a candidate for commissioner. And Mo Davis is a candidate for Congress. He is here. He's asked to speak. Where is he at?
Thank you so much. It's a real pleasure to be here and support law enforcement. I'm running for Congress. It's great to be back here in North Carolina. I moved away and joined the military and served for 25 years, retired as a colonel. It's great to see so many veterans out here. And there are a lot of similarities between military veterans and law enforcement. Those are jobs you don't take to get rich. Those are jobs you take because you're making a difference for your country and your community. So you've got my undying support for law enforcement here in Western North Carolina. And earlier, when we did the Pledge of Allegiance, to me the most important words are one nation, indivisible. And we're all in this together. We're all part of one community. So I stand with law enforcement. I'm old enough. My law enforcement experience goes back 41 years. I worked for Rufus Edmonston back when he was the Attorney General in the Department of Justice, and I worked in law enforcement training. I graduated from the Justice Academy in Salemburg as a law enforcement instructor. And then I joined the military. I got to head up the biggest criminal case in American history. I was the chief prosecutor at Guantanamo Bay for the 9/11 trials, Khalid Sheikh Mohammed and the others. And I got to lead a team of law enforcement from the FBI and from the military and from the CIA. And if you're my age, you remember, if you've been in law enforcement for over 4 decades like I've been, you remember the Law Enforcement Assistance Administration, the LEAA, ended in 1982. It wasn't a great organization, had a lot of faults, but one thing it did is it funded training for law enforcement. So one of the things I would like to do if I get the privilege of representing this district in Congress is to bring back something like the LEAA, like a GI Bill for law enforcement, to pay for training and education while you're in law enforcement and when you get out, because you deserve the same type of respect and support from the community that our veterans get. So again, thank you so much for what you do every day, and thank you, Franklin, for allowing me to be here today.
At this time, I'd like to recognize Madison Cawthorn, candidate for Congress.
Well, Sheriff, thank you very much. But hey, before you go, I was up in D.C. this week on Tuesday. I got to meet a very special person.
Yeah, I'm jealous.
I'm sure you are. I know Kevin Corbin was up there, and I know he relayed a very similar message to both of us. And it was one that he would, President Trump would like me to present you with this challenge coin to show his respect for you. And two, he wanted me to read this message to all the law enforcement here today. This is from President Trump. I send my warmest greetings to those attending the Back the Blue walk-in ceremony in Macon County, North Carolina. At the risk of their own personal safety, our nation's law enforcement officers serve and protect their communities and fellow citizens each day. These heroes are the thin blue line, separating chaos and crime from justice and order. I commend each of you, and that's each of you up on the roof, that's all of you stationed all around keeping us safe. I commend each of you for your bravery and dedication to the peaceful endeavor throughout the communities you serve. My administration is resolute in its commitment to supporting America's police officers and sheriff deputies and their families. I proudly stand with you all of our nation's law enforcement officials in their efforts to ensure safety and security of the American people. Signed, Donald J. Trump. President Trump wrote it said he supports the thin blue line. But I wanted to talk to you all about what exactly is the thin blue line. You know, we all go to sleep at night feeling relatively safe. A lot of us can keep our doors unlocked. We let our loved ones go to work or go to school, and we expect to see them back at home. And that's because we know that there are rough men and women who put on a uniform every single day to fight against the chaos that is trying to take over our world. I know that for the overwhelming majority of us, we don't see a lot of crime every single day. We don't see a lot of hate. We don't see a lot of violence. But if you look around and you see these law enforcement officers, they see it every single day so that we don't have to.
That's right. Thank you.
The thin blue line is made up of brave men and women who love their to be willing to put their life on the line at risk of leaving their families behind because they may die in the line of duty. The thin blue line is made up of brave men and women who are willing to protect order so that we can have a society, so that our children can grow older in a place of peace, so that we can go to work every single day knowing that we are safe. Now, I was writing a speech when I was coming over here, and I was just going to keep it pretty peaceable, but that's not really my style. Because right now the mob is pretty loud. That's right. And they want to take our men and women in blue down. I say no to that. this fringe element of this Marxist revolution is trying to say that they want to redefine and reimagine what police and law enforcement means. What does that mean? I'll tell you right now, I want the police officers of this country, the sheriff's deputies of this country, to feel so loved and so protected that they know that we have their six. So to all of you officers all around, to you, Sheriff Robbie, I promise you my unwavering support from this day until I die. Thank you.
For you men and women that have served, thank you. Thank you for being here out in this hot sun. Is there any other dignitaries that are here that would like to say something that I didn't recognize? Anybody from the town of Franklin? Anybody else from the county? Yeah, you're here. You are. Thank you. Mr. Savage, Rick Savage, he would like to say something.
Yeah!
I gotta raise this up.
Thanks, Frank! What's going on? Hello, I'm here in the house all day long singing my song, baby. What's going on, Franklin? I remember getting some cleats stuffed in my face over in the Panther Pit back in the 80s. Got a lot of respect for Franklin and Macon County. And definitely have a lot of respect for these amazing law enforcement officers we have with us today. Whether you're working, whether you're just here, thank you and God bless you. Just because a lot of punks that just got out of mom's basement want to give you guys a hard time, the rest of us adults out here still appreciate the men and women that make us safe. And you want to know how you keep back in the blue? You vote for people that back the blue. It's time for us to all start looking local. National politics, you got one vote. Local politics, you got 2 hands, 2 feet, and a mouth. You can knock on doors. You can talk to people. You can walk around your neighborhood and talk to your friends. It's time for us to take our communities back. That's right. Thank you for all of you folks that move here from other places. We love you. You come here from PA, you come here from Jersey, you come here from New York. We're a welcoming community. Thank you for coming here. Yeah. But we don't need anybody to change anything. We've been doing pretty damn good for the past couple of 100 years. We don't need help. If you come here, enjoy here. Don't try to change here, and don't tell us what we need to be doing. That's right. Vote local, folks. Vote for your local city councils. Vote for your local commissioners. Ask them questions. What do you believe? Do you back the blue? Do you back America? Sad you have to ask that question. I don't care if they're Democrats, Republicans, Independents, or Martians. You have a right to ask them, and they're obligated to answer. So thank you guys for being out here today, and I would love to say to the next Congressman from North Carolina, the one, the only, never lonely, rockin' and rollin', totally swollen, Madison Cawthorn! Thank you, Sheriff. Yeah! Follow that. Yeah!
My throat's hurting listening to him scream. I see my family out there. Thank you, Pam. Thank you, Natalie. Thank you all. Have you all had a good time? Thank you to our magistrates for being here. There's a whole lot of people that I can't thank, that I don't see, that I know are here. And I can't thank you. I am so humbled by the turnout. Thank you, Teagues. Thank you, Towns. Thank you, Kevin. Stay out of jail. We're gonna retire the colors here in a second, but please don't leave. We're gonna retire the colors. These fine young future leaders here are gonna retire our colors, but we have some gifts prizes that we want to give out. So please don't leave. For those of you that are hot, I understand. Find some shade. If you need to leave, we understand. But I cannot tell you, I am going to go home. We talked earlier about sometimes I look mad because I'm thinking and wondering what to say. Well, if I look mad, please understand right now, I am not mad. I'm going to go home tonight and I will be so excited. I'm not going to be able to sleep, which is not unusual. But I am so excited at the turnout. This is awesome. I've been telling my guys, the minority is loud right now, but the majority is about to get PO'd. Have I not? Have I told you guys that? And some of my wives of officers are bossy too. Hold on. Jackson County, who came here, Jackson County Sheriff's Office, you saw their tank come through here. We've used that multiple times in very dangerous situations. They are here. That's not what she told me to say, though. What she told me to say was, they've contacted us today while they saw our rally, and they're having a rally on August 15th. Yeah! And they would really like us to show up to their rally as well. Any other of my officers' wives want to boss me some too? Happy anniversary, Brent Ledford, and to your wife, Katie. Happy anniversary. Thanks for celebrating your anniversary with us. Hazel Norris, everybody knows you are my biggest fan. Where are you? Thank you for putting the word out. And all of these other people too. Yes, ma'am. Thank you to the merchants of Franklin for decorating this. For those of you that didn't hear, they're the ones that decorated, helped put out the word here. Some of our businesses closed so they could be here. During the last two protests, all the restaurants on this main street came out to my officers and offered us drinks, food, and did all sorts of things. Rock and Roly Polies has offered to give us food today for the law enforcement officers. So many people have done so many great things. Thank you to the Franklin merchants for this. We appreciate this. Okay, at this time I'm going to ask for the Mr. Benedict to come up here. This fine young man has ran this show. You're not planning on running for sheriff anytime soon, are you? Okay, go ahead.
Color guard, please retire the colors. Salute. Ready, two. At ease.
Okay, our last speaker we have, Miss We have a group that's coming up to speak here in just a second. We have Words of Hope and Healing by Rebecca Tipton and also Miss Bonnie Peggs, that the two of you would come up. Miss Tipton, I know you're here. Rebecca Tipton, she's coming, she's running. Man, I about messed up. Lord, I messed up. The people that have been praying hard for us, I just messed up. Thank you.
I was born in 1948. My father was a Columbus, Ohio homicide detective. He carried a .38 special, a pair of handcuffs, and an extra clip for extra bullets. On Sundays, we finally called that his church gun was a .32 automatic that he kept in a holster under his suit jacket on his back. Because he believed, even back then, that he was always there to serve and protect the innocent.
That's right.
We moved to Arizona when I was 5, and he became training supervisor for the Tucson Police Department. I went into the ministry, even though everybody else in my family was in law enforcement. But after 22 years of being a pastor, the Lord opened a different door, and I went to work for the Phoenix Police Department. I went as a dispatcher to train new recruits in crisis intervention and as a chaplain. One day when I was doing a ride-along, we went to a meth house. A little 2-year-old girl came running out. One of our officers, Charlie, was about 6'6" and weighed about 280. This little girl ran up and wrapped her arms around his leg, and she wouldn't let go. Charlie picked her up, and she wrapped her arms around his neck and just hung on. She wouldn't let go for anything, so he just kept holding her. Finally, he looked at me and he said, "Reverend, would you call my wife and ask her if she minds if I bring home a 2-year-old?" I did, and she said, "Of course." Talked to CPS. They let them become an emergency foster family, and he took that little girl home. What was the hardest thing about being a dispatcher? In Arizona, a 998 is shots fired. A 999 is an officer is shot. There were times when I was dispatching and an officer was in a foot pursuit. He's running, trying to give a description of the suspect he's chasing, and also trying to give me where he's at. He'd get down a dark alley, and he's describing buildings to me. I'm trying to get backup for him, and I'm not exactly sure where he's at. My heart was pounding. I heard gunshots. And he started screaming, 998, 998. I was praying that I wasn't going to hear a 999. As a chaplain, I was tasked with many things. Going to scenes that were horrific, debriefing officers before they would go back on patrol. Doing ride-alongs, going with them to do notifications when someone has died in an accident or been shot in a crime. Going with the chief when an officer was killed in the line of duty. As you've heard several times in Matthew, it talks about blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be children of God. Working in law enforcement made me understand, coming from a law enforcement family, said to me, not only are they children of God, they're like Gabriel. They're angels. Were there some bad officers? Not that I ever met. All of them were willing to run into fire, to run down a dark alley. They were willing to know that they might be the person who has a 999. Dispatching the most difficult thing I ever had to do was an end of watch, which is when an officer is killed. I can't tell you the feeling for me to know that we have people who are called into law enforcement, whether state trooper, sheriff, police officer, whoever comes into that line of blue, we are blessed. It is a job that is so tough. I can't tell you the times I would sit in a patrol car and an officer had just finished a call and tears would pour down their face. Their hearts, their spirits, their whole being is to serve and protect. In Phoenix, 52% of all their calls are domestic violence related. We never sent an officer on a domestic violence call by themselves. They always had to have 2 officers because it was the most dangerous call they could go on. I can't tell you the number of times they would go and I would go, wait for backup, and then come over the radio and go, I can't wait, I hear screaming, I hear children crying, I hear furniture breaking, I'm going in now. And I would ask where the backup officer was, how far away were they? Because I knew that officer was willing to go in and lay down his life for whatever victim was on the other side of that door. That's who law enforcement is, bar none. We are honored, we are privileged that we have angels among us who are willing to step into that place. Thank you, law enforcement. Thank you for all that you give and all that you do. Blessings.
Hi, my name is Rebecca Tipton. I live here. I've been a Franklin resident for 30 years. I'm a Christian wife and mother of 2 wonderful children. And it's a privilege and it's humbling to stand before you and just to share what God has done in my life and what I'm seeing Him do in this community. And we should all be very encouraged. This is an amazing showing of support. And when you show up for the police, I think also you're showing up in front of Almighty God and standing up to be counted as someone who wants to be a part of healing this community, of shoring up the breaches that our officers too often have to go into alone. They have to go into enemy fire, unprotected by prayer in some cases, and feeling alone. And that ends, it's already done, and it ends definitely today. And I just want to call everybody to have a consistent support for law enforcement officers and to seek God right now. This is a crucial time when God is calling us to our knees. Facing the coronavirus pandemic and all the restrictions and the suspension of our normal, which still hasn't come back, was very troubling to me. And I think to all of us. And I think in times of great pressure, it shows us where our hearts are. And sometimes we don't want to see the poverty in ourselves. But coming through that and then being just totally gut-wrenched by the incident in Minnesota and the loss of that man's life, and then the flood of negativity, in my view, manipulation, propaganda, vicious attacks, and even hatred toward everything it is to be an American, toward our police officers. You know, you went through it. So for me, it was a climate and a fear and oppression and darkness and intimidation that I felt. And if I felt that way, and you probably felt that way, imagine what our officers felt. And when I've talked to them about how to pray for them, one of their most consistent things is to pray for the climate, because that affects them so greatly. It wears on them. They're kind of like our pastors and those in Christian ministry, those doing Teen Challenge, those working with Reach, and numberless other ministries that are on the front lines. Our officers are on the front lines. And the words, the thin blue line, has stuck out to me as I've prepared to speak, that it is thin. They're so strong, but they're having to carry too much weight in our community. And so by standing here, you're saying, I'm not going to let you bear that alone. That I'm going to stand with you in prayer. And in whatever way we need to, yes. There are certain people in the community that bear burdens that are just too heavy for them. And the battle is too intense. They need our prayer. They need our support. They need us to show up for them. And more than anything, God needs us to show up. And right now, I think he's using all these pressures that we view as so negative, and sometimes I'm the worst to get spiritual indigestion from reading too much bad news and not knowing what to do with it. And after the coronavirus pandemic hit, and then this awful crisis in our nation, I was just in a place of desperation, and the Lord showed me that I wasn't where I wanted to be in my walk with him. I've been a Christian a long time, but I was not where I wanted to be. And my life was lacking in love. It was lacking in inspiration and power. I wasn't hearing from God like I wanted to. And that voice of conviction wasn't a voice of shame to put me down, but a voice to draw me to my knees to find him. And he's so close to all of us. He's so near to all of you. And some of you might even think that he's mad at you. You might feel oppressed by guilt or shame, but he's not. He loves you so much. He loves all of us. And more than anything, this is a time for us to come to God. And he will show us how to mount a defense in prayer and in love for our community. I think maybe now he's got our attention. Sometimes we have to sort of hear the wolf barking at the door and the claws scratching on the door to realize the urgency of the situation. So what the Lord led me to do in the midst of this situation was to start organizing public prayer of Christians to gather on the square over there. And it was just an act of faith and really desperation, because the problems in our nation seemed too big for us to cope with, and they are. But we have a limitless God. Our problem is we limit him. We don't seek him like we should. And he's there for us. And he wants to restore our hearts in love and then mobilize us for action. He wants us, he says, my sheep hear my voice. If you belong to him today, pray to be united with him in an even stronger way. Say, Lord, I want you to show me my sin so I can be forgiven and be free of it. That's the only reason he shows it, right? It's not for putting anybody down. And show me how I need to be involved here. Let me back up and just say that the prayer meetings we had, thank you, Derek Rowland, for same-day permit approvals. That was awesome. We had a wonderful turnout of passionate Christians who, like me, wanted to take action and knew that the first thing we have to do is pray, because his ways are higher, it says in the scripture. And we have to seek him. He's the strength we need. He's the rock eternal. And he's there for all of us. And so when we sought him in prayer, it was just beautiful. We wanted to stand on the street corner, not to be showy or prideful, but to be a voice of encouragement, to hold signs that showed unity and love, support for our law enforcement, to pray for them, to be a rallying call for people to have their minds shaken out of the passivity and the negativity that so easily just ensnares us and assaults us. Our media and our social media tend to often magnify what's negative, what's wrong, what puts us down, and that's not by accident, okay? God loves every one of you, and every one of you has unique gifts that are powerful to be used for his kingdom. And he can revolutionize your heart in a day. That's what he did for me. I went from a place of powerlessness and poverty of spirit to seeking God. I repented of my prayerlessness and lovelessness, and I said, God, things have to change right here. Would you help me? And they did. And so leading those times of prayer, we had a very strong emphasis for our law enforcement. For the same reason why you're standing here today. We wanted to hold them up. We wanted to pray for them. And we were so honored because at the first meeting we had on June 20th, our Sheriff Robbie Holland came by, and he parked near the courthouse square and got out just to tell us how much he appreciated us being there. It was the same week that we'd had 2 protests. And like he said, there's no condemnation for anyone involved in those, but there was some negativity that they experienced. It was sad and disheartening for them. And even their families and children were feeling oppressed by the idea that their police dads and moms were hated in the community. That's how they felt. So when he came and stopped, we prayed for him, and he shared how much it meant. And that just lit a fire in us even more. We came together again on July 4th. Celebrate our nation's birthday amidst the coronavirus pandemic lockdowns, and to show that God's church is not chained to buildings, and it's not restrained by illegitimate laws. I don't know how to say this. We gather to be a visible showing for our Lord and also for our community, and it was really wonderful. And so I want to invite you all I'll back up. I also had the privilege of meeting Chief Harrell, and he stopped at the second meeting and talked to us, thanked us, and told us some ways that we can partner with law enforcement right now to support them, to get in line with the thin blue line on an ongoing basis to support them. And I have found that Sheriff Holland and Chief Harrell are, in addition to being tough and wise, they are gentle and kind. They are so welcoming to community involvement, and they're just good people. They're such good people. We're so grateful to have them leading our law enforcement. Can't even say that enough. Thank you all so much. So what God put on my heart is just to, again, invite all of us to our knees. It's a place where we feel weak, but instead we rise up in power in Him. And we can surmount these things. In the scripture, God talked through the prophets and spoke about times like we're going through right now. And He compared the onslaught on society, on the pillars of society, holding things up and preventing chaos, standing for God, standing for truth and righteousness, to a city with walls that were being battered and that were in some cases crumbling down. And I wanted to read something from Isaiah 50 real quick. And this is a warning, it's an invitation, and it's also an encouragement of what we can do in God. God calls out to His people to hear His voice. He says, "When I came, why was there no one? When I called, why was there no one to answer? Was my arm too short to ransom you? Do I lack the strength to rescue you? By a mere rebuke, I dry up the sea. I turn rivers into a desert." And then this is the promise that we can all have in Him. Not in ourselves, but in Him. "The sovereign Lord has given me an instructed tongue to know the word that sustains the weary." We have some weary officers here, and thank you for recharging their tanks today. Let's keep doing that, right? Let's keep doing that. To know the word that sustains the weary. He wakens me morning by morning.
We have a medic here. We need a medic. Do we have a medic? We need a medic over here, please. Robert, over there.
Hey, Sheriff, you pray? Everybody's bow our heads right quick. Dear Father God, we pray for our fellow friend over here who's going through something hard. God, we pray your protection, your blessing on them. Please be with the medics that are preparing them. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen.
Yes. So I will go on with Isaiah 50. "The sovereign Lord has given me an instructed tongue to know the word that sustains the weary. He wakens me morning by morning. He wakens my ear to listen like one being taught." That is a really precious promise. And he's there for all of us today. He's our rock. So and in seeking Him, the connections with the police and sheriff's departments have been such a blessing. And what they've told us is that they want community involvement from the Christian community in this town. And ways that they have disclosed a need, I'll share that with you, and please be in prayer for that. And also, if you know people in ministry who can respond to this need, would you, if they're not here, would you speak to them and make them aware of it and have them contact either me or the sheriff or the chief? But what they really need is continued prayer. They need a presence in their officers' lives of men and women of God who are ordained, who want to stand with them on a consistent basis, to pray with them face to face, to be able to bear some of the intense burdens that they encounter in their work, and be a source of refuge and confidential support for them. Okay, so all of our ministers out there, this is a tremendous opportunity to partner with our law enforcement right now. Another thing is that it's called the Police Chaplaincy Program. My mind went a little blank, so I'm going to turn my page. They also eventually, depending on how the coronavirus restrictions play out, they would like to have ministers go on police ride-alongs in the vehicle, in the squad car, with the officers and deputies, so they can respond to urgent community needs like a fatal accident or a crisis or other tragedy where there are people that are in need of ministry and encouragement. So we are so blessed to live in this town. Can't stress that enough, but I just want to thank the Lord for all He's done, and I ask you to partner with Him in this. and to seek him while he may be found, because he's here and he's close to every one of us. And he's the source for all the strength that we could need right now, all the inspiration. And then is there anything, Sheriff? All right. I'll go ahead and close this in prayer. Thank you for being here. This has been amazing. Heavenly Father, we just praise you and thank you for the ways you have shown up and drawn us to this event, for the ability to pour out our hearts in support for law enforcement, for the ability to come and stand here publicly, to stand for who and what we believe in, to not be a silent majority, but an active and vocal majority, speaking truth in love. Please, Lord, bless our officers and our deputies and all those who are involved in law enforcement. Bless them and undergird them and back them up with the might of heaven. I pray for heavenly reinforcements for them in their personal lives, in their jobs, in their times of deepest trial and struggle and testing. And Lord, help us to commit to continue to pray for them and uplift them on a consistent basis, and stand with them and bless them. And Lord, the walls of our nation, the walls of our community that seem so fragile to us, there's nothing you can't do. There's nothing too difficult for you. So we speak your power, your love, and your truth over all the problems that are too great for us. And we know that you will come and answer each of our prayers individually, and you will guide us and connect us in ways that you want us to mount that wall, get on top of the places where the rubble's falling down, and shore that up. Thank you for thinking so highly of us, that you would involve us in your work, that you would call us, that you would actually need us to stand up and be counted. And I pray that we do that. And we give you all the glory and the praise. Lord, please comfort the families of law enforcement who've suffered losses, those who have lost loved ones. Lord, our hearts just go out to them, and we ask for supernatural grace and comfort to them, and the drawing of people around them to love them and pray for them and encourage them. In Jesus' name, I pray. Amen. I want to go ahead and tell you some ways you can get some discounted food real quick. I checked with some area businesses, and if you're hungry and thirsty, the Motor Company Grill is offering 50% off for law enforcement. So that's really cool. Root and Barrel has offered 10% discounts for your entire ticket for law enforcement families for this entire week, ending next Saturday. So that's really cool. And also, Rock and Roly Polies is giving free meals to law enforcement and a 10% discount to anyone that's wearing law enforcement supporting gear or patriotic gear. So go show up there with your stickers and get something a little cheaper to eat. Thank you.
I promised we'd have this thing over with by 2 o'clock, and we're going to make it. We're going to do our prizes now. If you've got a poster that you're carrying today, and you'd like to present that up here and let everybody see it, we want to have a vote on who has the best poster here. Just come on around the front here, and we're going to have a quick judging. This lady that's being treated over here, she's here. And she wanted to make sure that we remembered Luke 21:36. They asked me to say that to you all, so if you'll go home and read Luke 21:36. But they're treating her. But hold your poster up here, and we're going to walk by there and judge. If you think you're the oldest person here, raise your hand. Who is the oldest individual here? Dick Bolus, how old are you?
89.
89. Is there anybody older than 89 here right now?
92.
92. Is there anybody older than 92?
Jordan's grandma.
Okay. I've got, both of you are winners for being here. Both of you, Mr. Bolus and Miss Grandma. Is that Grandma? Oh, that's Grandma's. That's Grandma. Grandma and Grandpa. Okay. 89 and 92. If you'll come right up here, you don't have to walk all the way up here. We got a prize. Officers' wives, would you give me 2 prizes for the oldest? Now what you need to do is turn around and let everybody see your poster.
Yeah, you're really the second oldest.
Who do we think is the #1 poster here? Here, number one. Everybody see him? This one, number one. Okay, now listen. For those of you that are disappointed that yours was not number one, we have a prize for every single one of you. Don't leave. Don't leave. This is our number one poster. Corbin. Mr. Bullis, the oldest man here.
Yeah, I'm not ready to good place to be. We were there earlier. Oh, Larry over there.
She has to give her the cook.
Oh, later.
Give her.
I need to be sorted. Hi, Diane. See you next Thursday.
Thank you so much.
You said Linda was here? Did you say Linda?
Hey, and if you're a child and you want some ice cream, I'm kind of worried about this. It's while it lasts. Crabtree General Store out here has some ice cream for us, for the kids.
Uh-oh.
Where's that ice cream at? Oh, there they are over there waving. Why don't you walk over to here with that? Will it move? So if you kids want some ice cream. Miss Cassandra Jordan, she wanted to give us this as an original painting that she has done, or a poster for us to put in our department. Yeah. So she wanted us to have that, to put it up here, and we appreciate you being here. Love your hat too. Your painting is beautiful. Let's look at her. Awesome. Thank you. Okay, for being here. How many firearms, how many Second Amendment supporters are there? How many of you go to Jeff's Arms, to his range? Okay, we've got some prizes for you being here. While it lasts, if you come and see me, it's for 1 hour of free time on the range. Don't shoot nobody coming here. So meet me right here.
back when I run out. No, don't be mad. Don't be mad. Don't be mad.
That was me, sorry. I hope my voice wasn't.
That's part of.
I didn't hear you.
Crowd here.
Oh, I didn't hear you. Oh, actually, I'm not.
I got some
Just a dog.
I got some Bob, I know you're going to be able to make a nice video. Yeah, I'm still streaming. Oh, are you? Yes, so come over here. Unless you want to say something, tell everybody why you're here. Oh, no, that's okay. All right, see you. Okay, everybody, this is Bobby with Macon Media. The Psychics event is wrapping up.
All right, I need, who likes antiques? Okay, I need 3 adults that like antiques. I've got a $100 gift certificate at, where's it at? Whistle Stop. Of course it was, at Whistle Stop. I need 3 adults that would like to be in a contest for that. You can't ask what the contest is, just come up here. I need 3 adults. Raise your hand. It's secret, can't tell you. Not until I have the 3rd person here. I'm not going to embarrass you. Come on.
I don't believe you.
All right, tell us your name.
Kay Cunha.
Say that again.
Kay Cunha.
Kane Cunha.
Kathy Kaler.
Kathy Kaler.
Teresa Hartzell.
Teresa Hartzell. So I have a $100 gift certificate from Whistle Stop that we're going to give the winner of this contest. All right, so stand right here, facing that way. These people have to see you. All right. Now you can't back out. All right. I want your best siren that you can make. You know, a siren, make a siren. Make a police siren sound. That's really good. Okay. You guys are the judge, because I'm not going to be the bad guy. I get elected. All right, so we're going to vote. Thank you. Thank you, Whistle Stop Mall. There you go. And don't go away. We got a gift for you, too. Give these young ladies a gift. This is for dinner at Miss Lois's. Thank you, Miss Lois's. I can't read. I don't have my glasses. Spa Shaban. Thank you very much. Okay. Who thinks they drove the farthest to get here? Where did you come from? You came all the way from Marion to attend our Blue event? Nebo, Lake James. Awesome. Anybody farther than Marion today? Daytona Beach. You drove from Daytona Beach today to get here? Oh, you drove in 2 days. Specifically to come here? Oh, okay. Thank you. Lickskillet. I know where that's at. Over yonder. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Who would like to have a gift certificate to Rock and Roly Polies? Do you know how much it's for? We think it's for $25. Would you? I want to hear your best siren. Oh, you're an officer's family. You should be able to make a good one. Hey, Okay, we got some gift certificates to the gazebo. I want to tell you a little bit about these. I know everybody gave to the event here, but this also came from not only the gazebo of the owners, but also the waitresses and waiters there put their money together, and they also collected and wanted to give. So for being here today, we want to give one to you all. Yeah. And we want to give one to you. Do you like the gazebo? Say yes. And we want to give one to you. To the gazebo. Thank you for being here. I want to give one to you. Thank you. Thank you. I want to give you one too. Thank you to Main Street Coffee. Who would like a certificate to Main Street Coffee? I've got 3 certificates to Main Street Coffee. Do you drink coffee?
Yeah, I drink coffee. Thank you so much. That's great.
There's one up, Can you get one from the gazebo? I'm tangled up in balloons. Did you all get ice cream? Vito's Pizza. He'd be really proud. He recently died. He'd be really proud to know that his wife is standing up and back in the blue. So we thank Vito for that. I'm going to get you one.
Christine's home decor. Brasstown beef.
Where's Brasstown beef? Here's one for Brasstown beef. Give that to him. Brasstown beef. Thank you. 2 tickets to the Christmas show for the Isaacs in December. Who would like to go to that and take their bride? We're going to let our sound man that's helped us with the sound today. Am I still untangled? Yes. Thank you. Colasage Campground donated this fine thing. It's a hat and a mug. Colasage Campground, my neck of the woods. Who would like to have this hat and this mug from Colasage Campground? There you go.
That one is Mossy Rock, sorry.
Mossy Rock on Main Street. It is a gift certificate.
And like a little painting.
Who would like this for being here today? Thank you for being here. Tell your mom I love her too. That's my paper. Sorry, that's okay. $20 gift certificate for Divas. Thank you. Here is a gift certificate for Rustin Relics here on Main Street. Yep.
She's over here.
Oh, sorry, just me. Cowie Gift Shop at Mason Mountain Mine, 2 gift certificates, $30 buckets. These individuals actually close shop Saturday when they could be making money to be here for this event, so we appreciate that. Who would like to go to Cowie Gift Shop in Mason Mountain Mines? $30 gift. Got another one. Who would like to go look for some stuff? Here you go. Thank you for your flags. Yes. Ridgecrest Automotive, free oil change up to 6 quarts. Come on here. Got another one, got 2 of them. Our friends at Ridgecrest. Thank you. Thank you. Hold on. Another oil change to Ridgecrest, 6 quarts.
I would say anybody who likes making masks, this is like material. It's $100 voucher.
Who likes to make masks during these times when so many masks are being made? Here's Christine's Home Decor Back to Blue for $100. Christine's Home Decor. Who would like that? Come on, guys.
It's free.
$100 gift card. Here you go. Thank you. All right. We have 2 bins for recyclables for 1-year service, weekly home pickup. They're recyclables. It's a $360 value. Who would like that? All right. Thank you, sir. Thank you. You got to take the bins.
This is from, I would take that.
This is from Alicia Teague from Eminence Organic Skincare for Rose Room Spa. Thank you, Alicia. Harrell? Okay, we're going to let one of my officers' wives have it. Is that okay? All right. Because I'll live life hard if I don't.
That's right.
Thank you.
That's one time.
One-time preventative heating and cooling maintenance, preventative maintenance. One-time visit from Absolutely Affordable Heating and Air. Thank you. How many golfers are there? Here's a, all right. I'm not even gonna ask. I'm just gonna give it to these law enforcement officers that came from Jackson County to be here. Thank you all. Thanks for being here. Thank you. Did you feel love today? Good. Tupperware. Heck, I'm taking that home.
I know, right? Let me say that
No,
office.
we got Tupperware. Who gave us that?
Her name's on the list. I put her name on your list.
Okay, she's on the list. If any of you are from businesses, I didn't want to name off the businesses, but we're going to post that this week and thank all the businesses for all the things that they donated. But thank you. CareNet, thank you for are you the ones that gave the water for today? Was it CareNet? Pine Grove? Oh, my church. All right. Thanks to my church, Pine Grove Baptist Church. I appreciate you being out here to give water to people. I hope, is that lady okay that was being taken care of? She's okay? Just got hot? All right. But thank you all for being here. When you sent me that message, I wasn't sure if it was for CareNet or what it was for, so thank you for being here. Tupperware. Everybody needs Tupperware. You make us lots of cookies and stuff. I think you might need some Tupperware. Thank you. Is that it? Is that it, Sherry? We good? We good? You guys disappeared off. What is this?
There's a roadside kit.
Oh, I lost the officers' wives. They were over getting pictures with Madison, so we know who's important here. What? This is a roadside kit from State Farm? From State Farm, I'm sure. From Mancheck? Scott Mancheck and family. Thank you. Go in your son's car. Good. Tell him to slow down. 2 pairs of earrings. Does anybody mind if I give it to one of our officers' children? I'm going to give you one.
Thank you.
Does she have earrings yet? Do you have earrings? Thank you for hanging out with us. Thank you for your support and your love. Huh? Oh, thank you. That's why we go to work every day. Thank you all for everything. Have what? Okay, you adults that think you're kids, there's 50 more ice creams left. Thanks to Crabtree Motor Company Grill. So if you would like some ice cream, or if you've already had one and you'd like a second, thank you, Tim Crabtree and family. Go right over there and get you an ice cream. Thank you all. Thank you.